Guys, welcome back to the channel. I thought I'd do a quick little video on the famous Moto bike carrier. Now this is not a long-term review, of course. I've only had this thing for a short while. Haven't done any big trips on it yet. Have used it a couple of times, but yeah, this is just going to be more of a my first impressions, what I think of this thing. I'll show you guys how easy or difficult it is to get the KTM 690 up on here and back off again, and basically how I secure it and my experience with it so far. So hang around. Yeah, first things first, guys, this is the heavy duty Moto, rated up to 270 kilos apparently, and this is not any kind of sponsored review or anything. I paid full price for this thing myself. I actually got it from Peter Stevens Motorcycles here in Australia. They offered the best shipping, same price as most places, but the cheapest shipping I think it was like $50 to southeast Queensland, so I thought that wasn't too bad. Can't remember exactly how much this was. I'll put the price up on the screen here for anyone interested. It was $300 and something. So yeah, these are one of the more budget oriented bike carriers. If you want to get the best, obviously you'd spring for a rack and roll or something like that, but you're looking at up around or over $1,000 for one of those. Now firstly, putting this thing together, pretty easy. I had no troubles. The instructions are good, they're not great, but they do the job. The standard rack itself doesn't come with any lights or anything, so you do have to source those yourself. I'm going to put links for everything I've got here, guys, in the description of the video if anyone's interested in that. But yeah, putting it together was very easy. Everything lined up, all the bolt holes were fine. There was no dramas with putting it together. The only thing you really got to decide is which end you're going to want to load your bike from. So you'll put obviously the front wheel chock thing at the opposite end. Being that this is mounted to a motorhome, I figured we're always going to be having the awning out this side because that's where it is. So there's always going to be room on this side to put the ramp and unload the bike on that side. It kind of seemed more natural for me to be wheeling the bike up from this side, but it's not too bad doing it that way. As you can see with it mounted to the motorhome, the ground clearance is not real good. That makes it a good thing for, you know, the higher it is, the harder it obviously is to get the bike on there, on and off. But having it low to the ground, you can see that, you know, the angle you've got there, it doesn't take much of a lift of those front wheels for that to drop drastically. So you've got to be pretty careful where you go, especially when you're reversing. You don't want to be backing it into the ground. It'd be dangerous, but yeah, otherwise pretty good. It's quite a rough driveway that we've come down here, and there's a lot of bumpy bits, but this only dragged on the ground once, and it was only this corner here, so not too bad. I've heard people rag on the welds on these motos. You know, I've got to agree, they're not the best. They kind of look like they've been welded by preschool kids, but to be honest with you, it's better than what I could weld. I can't really knock it. You know, it's strong enough, obviously it's welded properly. It's just, yeah, not the best looking welds. One thing I'm not really all that keen on is the fastenings for the ramp. All you've got is these two wing nuts. They say they're locking wing nuts, but yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't trust them for too long. I would have liked to replace those with some nylock nuts, but none of the nuts I have will fit that thread for some reason. You know, I'd be happy to grab a shifter out to undo it. But in saying that, driving out here, they didn't come loose at all, so yeah. They do provide this stabilising bracket with it, which is really good. It's got, I think, 4 bolts underneath that all tighten up and just solidify the whole thing. Stops it from moving pretty much any direction. It won't jiggle side to side or up and down or even twist very much at all with that tightened up. And then of course with the Heyman Reese tow hitch, you've got this bolt here which holds everything tight as well, so it is fairly stable. Like it's not too bad in that regard. As I mentioned, you do have to supply your own lights. I picked these up off eBay, $15 delivered for the pair. LED, I don't know how long they're going to last, but they work just fine. Wired in myself with some 7-core trailer wire. You know, it's all just pretty much common sense, that sort of stuff. It's not the tidiest job, but it works. Trailer plug there, you know, piece of cake really. Just takes a bit of time. You'll only need those, of course, if your bike blocks your vehicle's, you know, lights. But pretty much any bike, I think, on one of these with a cover on it especially is going to block those lights. So probably something that you're going to have to add. And also the accessory number plate too. I had to add that because, you know, that one gets blocked by the bike. These you can pick up off PPQ. If you're in Australia, I'll put a link for that as well. They're about $30 delivered for an accessory number plate, so not a big deal there. Other than that, not really much to mention. It's looking a little bit corroded in here. It's been out in the weather for a couple of weeks now, but yeah, I mean it's all painted and everything and coated, so should be okay. Yeah, looking a bit dodgy there. Alright, so the weight rating for this heavy duty carrier, guys, 270 kilos. I wouldn't do that. You know, maybe this carrier can handle that kind of weight, but yeah, if you think about it, you know, these tow hitches, I don't think they're designed for that kind of downward pressure. And it's not just the weight of the bike. You look at that angle there. It's a lot of leverage on that tow hitch. If you've got 270 kilos, like, you know, 2 feet out from that tow hitch, bouncing up and down the road, that's a hell of a lot of stress on the tow hitch and the chassis. And yeah, as I said, maybe the carrier can handle it, but yeah, I don't think I'd be trusting my pride and joy back here bouncing up and down. You know, yeah, it's a lot of leverage and a lot of weight. To be fair, even the 690, which weighs what, 160 kilos, that's probably as much as I would go on one of these carriers. But that's just my feelings on it, guys. I may be way off. Maybe you could put a 300 kilo bike on here and it would be fine. Yeah, that risk is yours to take. I don't think I'd be doing it. Anyway, I'll demo to you guys quickly how easy it is to get the bike up on here. I don't even need to start the engine. It rolls up pretty easy, but as I said, it is quite low, and that does help a lot with that. There's no window here on the back. Say if you had a ute with a canopy or something and you had a window there, you didn't want to brake, you couldn't just lean the bike on the back of the vehicle, which I can do. I've put a foam pad up here just to stop it scratching the paint, the hand guards. But yeah, I can just pretty much wheel the bike up here and lean it on the vehicle while I get the straps attached. But yeah, I'll show you guys how all that works now. Very easy. You, my fine furry friend, are gonna have to move your ass though. Come on, get up. Do apologise if the lighting isn't real good here, guys. Kind of in the shadows here, but anyway. Take this ramp off. Now also, one thing I've seen on other videos, guys, the 690 is too long for this rack, so when your back wheel's on here, it actually locks the ramp in place so you can't get it out. But there is an easy way to get around that, which I'll show you. Yeah, so basically I just put the ramp there first, grab my tie down straps for the front and hook them up. These are just your basic cam lock motorcycle straps. You get hooked on these front loops here. The old fork saver is a good idea to have too. Alright, so I'll push this thing up without any mechanical assistance. As I said, definitely much easier when it's this low. You don't have a steep approach angle. Now these motos do come with these steel rods that you can put in through there, and a couple at the front too. I've just not put any of those in there. I'm not entirely sure what they're for. Possibly for bikes with smaller diameter wheels to stop them going in so far, but yeah, I don't use those. Now as you can see there, because the ramp has got a pin in it that locks into place on the actual carrier, the bike has now jammed it in there so you can't get it out. Yeah, we'll get it strapped on at the front and then I'll show you how to get that out. Right, so it's pretty much secured now. Fork saver is in place. To get the ramp up, I'll essentially just lift the back of the bike up, put that wheel onto the edge of the carrier there, and I'll be able to get that ramp out. It is easier to do if the bike's in gear, but you can do it in neutral as well. So you can see what I mean there. Pretty easy. You can get that out now. And just drop that back in. Can even do it one-handed while holding a camera. So then the ramp just basically goes on here with the wing nuts. Obviously, you know, from traveling with it, I'll tie some knots in the straps to stop them coming undone. Can't always trust those cam locks 100%. So Moto say, and I agree with this 100%, don't just trust one set of straps. Have something else, whether you've got those turnbuckle things that'll go over your foot pegs to here, you can use those if you like. I think those are a bit of messing around, so I've just gone with a second set of straps. These are just 1 inch smaller straps, but they're really freaking strong from Ballard's. They work really well. I'll just put that around the frame here, pull it down tight. These straps are way too long for this job in reality, but they still do it. They still do the job just fine. And then same again on the other side. And then tie these up wherever. If you're going to be leaving your bike unattended on one of these racks for any time at all, I would definitely recommend some kind of security. I do have one of those Kranz disc locks. I'll put a link for that in the description. So you can put an alarm disc lock on your bike. If anybody touches it, moves it around, you know, especially like if you're sleeping in your camper van or whatever at night, that's going to go off and wake you up and alert you to it. But you also probably want something like a decent big ass high tensile chain with a nice big lock on it. Definitely a good deterrent. So yeah, that's the one I use. Don't just put it through a wheel, put it through the frame if you can. And the piece of resistance is the bike cover. Out of sight, out of mind. I've got a Kamini bike cover. It's the extra large size because of the windscreen and handguards and stuff on the 690. I had to get the extra big one, and I've sort of zip tied some of it up at the end so it's not flapping everywhere, but it fits pretty well. And I'll just show you guys how that looks with the cover on it. Putting these bike covers on is probably the worst part about the whole thing, if you ask me. But certainly worth doing, yeah, for security. You know, it's going to stop people hopefully nicking your double take mirrors and whatever else, because you know, the scumbags out there will take whatever ain't nailed down. Yeah, these covers will get hung up on every little bit of your bike, trust me. Pain in the butt. But yeah, that's that, guys. That is the cover. It hooks up one side to the other underneath there. Plus I have these strings here which I attach to Oki straps, which just go over the top and stop it from flapping a bit. But yeah, that's the Kamini lightweight bike cover. Links in the description for all this stuff, as I said. There you have it, guys, just about ready to go. Yeah, it's getting warm out here, but I'll tell you what, look at this weather. Ain't gonna complain. Anyway, I'll get the timer going, I reckon. We'll see how long it takes me to take the cover off, unstrap it, get the ramp off, and take the bike off. And we'll see how long that takes, the whole lot, minus the lock. The lock's not on there, but yeah, I'll give you an idea anyway. Starting from now. Dunsky, so it'd only be a couple of minutes surely. Anyway, there you go, guys. That is my initial impressions of the heavy duty Moto. Would I recommend it? Yeah, no dramas so far. As I said, hasn't had a lot of testing yet, so we'll see how it goes on the road when we get to that stage. But yeah, as long as I don't smash it into the ground, I think it should be fine. And as long as this big heavy 690 doesn't fatigue it too much. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you check out the links in the description for any of this stuff. I'll put links to whatever I can find, and yeah, catch us on the next video. Cheers.